go live. We're live. Hi, welcome and merry. Not quite yet, but we are on the 1st of December, aren't we? Now, that's a bit cool. Can't go wrong with that, can we? We have only 25 days, 24 days, 23, because we're kind of towards the end of the day today in the UK. Well, 4:30 in the afternoon, just starting in America. 24 days. Who's counting? Who's counting? Honestly, who's counting towards Christmas? I am. I tell you, that's who's counting. I am counting towards Christmas. I have bought my Christmas presents early. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my wife's telling me, yes, you should have done this last year and the year before that and the year before that and the year before that. Never mind. But we're doing something extra special today because we are doing the Bauble. Almost said that wrong. The Bauble. Yeah, the Christmas Bauble. So it is it's different, isn't it, to a dog? Surprisingly, you would never have thought, would you? It's like, well done, Rob. Congratulations, idiot. Yeah, so it's a bauble. Of course, it flipping is. It's a bauble, but you know what's similar about this to a dog or a cat or a horse is one thing, and that is it has a shiny surface on it, which is like the eyes. But we've got to capture that. How do you capture light? How do you capture something that sparkles or glistens? You know, eyes are slightly different because they tend to be more reflective. This one isn't quite as reflective. It's got a bit of a matte sheen on it. So we're having to be a little bit careful with how we do what we do. But anyway, welcome. Great to have you here. It's awesome. I hope you have enjoyed Holly. And judging by your posts in the Facebook group, I would say you have. And judging by all the comments and amazing feedback that you've had, I know you have. And yes, she was a bit tricky for some of you. I know. We can see that. And yeah, me too. It's, and this is the thing, you never know how tricky a portrait is until you actually get to do it. You don't realize that some of the things are, push you out of your own comfort zone. And, because everyone's different. And especially when you get to do things like animals, because their fur is different between animal breeds, animal types, sizes, reflection, color, lighting conditions, etc., etc., etc. So, you can never get kind of bored with that, can you? But anyway, that's enough of animals. We're on to Christmas. I can't believe you just said that, Rob. You said enough of animals. If our dog heard that, he'd be marching right up these stairs now. Luckily, he's going a bit... Actually, he's not going deaf. I think he pretends that he's deaf sometimes, except when it's his dinner. Then he's not deaf. Anyway, welcome. Let's have a look who's here, shall we? So, Karen Brown, hi. Hi to everyone. Hello, great to have you here. And Jeanette and Outback Boomerangs, good to see you again. Paul, sorry, I don't have my glasses, so if I can't quite get your name right, and it's because I can't see. It's terrible, isn't it? You get to this kind of age and you just go, I can't see anything, and you go to your shop and you're getting your glasses out. It's like, I don't know. What's it saying? What? Let me just have a look. Squint your eyes and do all this kind of weird stuff. And oh yeah, because I can see it down there. Yes, wrong product. Terrible, isn't it? God knows how you can still draw at this age. I mean, how did they do that? How did they do that back in all those days with Da Vinci and Raffaello and people? What did they do apart from the eyeglass? I don't know. I guess I feel what Beethoven felt when he started going deaf. But they didn't have... I mean, he did have a bugle thing, didn't he? Apparently, Beethoven's bugle. Or was that a concerto? I don't know. Yeah, so great to have you here. So it should all be working. Refresh. I can only see his hand on the mouse. Oh my gosh. There we go. Isn't that crazy? You're probably looking at a stream going, I can hear him. Can't see anything of the idiot. He's not there yet. He's. I tell you what, these BBC staff, they're not very good. You get the producers and the directors in, the soundman, the floor staff, the cameraman. Nah, rubbish. Don't employ them. No, not see what they do. Look, crazy. Anyway, yeah. So yes, slight technical mishap there. Apologies. Anyway, it happens, doesn't it? It happens to the best of us. Uh, yeah, I thought I was doing. Of course, yes. I should have said. Well, there we go. Just wanted to start off with the hand and just show you the background before we actually physically move on to the drawing of the bauble. So look, the bauble is going to be different. I mentioned before, of course, it's non-reflective. It's a round circle thing. It's not quite a dog, and etc. 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 But it's different because we do have a larger single surface area of one kind of color. So, and trying to get this gradation going across so it looks smooth is going to be a little bit tricky. As you know, I didn't do a. Oh, and something else that I'm doing. I'm stepping the game up with you here. I didn't do a blurred photo because I want you to do it without it. Okay. And one way that you can do it is you will look at your picture that you have and you make it look a little bit blurred. So you kind of blur it out. If you stare at it or stare through it, it will go blurred. So start to see. I want you to start to see the blurredness of the picture. I can do it easily. I just take my glasses off. I can't see a darn thing with it. You know, actually I can, but my eyes aren't that bad. But at least that's what I tell people. I tell my wife. I said, "No, I can see you, honey. Where are you?" Anyway, so let's get on with it, shall we? So pencil-wise, we've got a range of pencils that we're sort of choosing from. It doesn't matter if you have them all. The main thing is, if you've got an orange, we're using an orange. If it's not quite the same orange, it doesn't matter. It's an orange. You know, if it's a brown, if it's a dark brown, just use a dark brown. Just find one that's darker. That's all. If it's a mid brown, find a mid-tone brown. You know, we don't want to get caught in this. Oh, what number is it? I need the exact number, and I don't have it. So therefore, my whole picture is going to be a failure. Don't. Yeah. Don't. You've got to kind of treat yourself and force yourself to kind of lose that sort of pencil anxiety alone. It's just about getting the colours that are close enough. If you keep that consistency throughout your portrait, that's what's going to make a difference. Okay. So now my camera's having. I'm hoping it's going to work. It's having a little bit of a problem trying to focus on the dark background because it's not really picking much up, but I'm hoping that once I start to lay stuff down there, it'll start to pick up the focus. I will sort of say what pencils I am using, you know, where I can, when I remember. Honestly, don't worry about it. It's just like, oh, he's using a blue. Well, that looks like a light blue. Well, I've got one here that's kind of lightish enough. That's fine. If you want it lighter, add a little bit of white. If you want it darker, add a darker blue or a little bit of black or brown or something. So. You know, and if you go, I don't know what colour to add. Well, white for light, dark for darkening. And don't think I'm being pedantic or rude about this, but it is really that kind of simple. You know, we don't have to be all colour theorists about this. You know, yes, we can go into that. That's more accurate. But for the majority of stuff that we're doing, it is that simple. Add some black if it's dark. Or brown's good. Brown's good because it's not quite as heavy and harsh on it. And again, white, I wouldn't go for white all the time. I'd use more like a cream. So, you know, we're kind of coming up that one or two steps a bit more, and that's going to make it a lot better. But let's get started, shall we? Okay, so let me flip my camera over. As you see, I've got my kind of camera in the way at the moment of this screen, but let's just flick that over. Yeah, so we just needed to get that bauble in shot because yeah, see, it's looking a little bit. Is it looking a bit blurred? Let me just try and refocus this again. So I'm hoping that. Yeah, it really is struggling, but when I try and get some colour down, it should change that. So, okay, it's a little bit harder for mine. I've chosen a dark background because I want this to pop out from the back, and you can see, you know, in the picture there's that kind of black and grey at the front. So we're just going to be using that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start on this red ring in the middle. Just start to get some of that background, and I'm going to get my glasses on. Like I said, can't see much. Actually, it's not too bad, really. Honestly, it's not. Or am I just trying to convince myself? Probably. Okay, so let's start at the end. We're going to start at the end, and I'm going to use the 280 So this is going to be my end colour, just to get some of that darkness in. You know, it's a bit of a dark brown and a bit of black. So I'm going to use this rather than using. I'm going to go around that bit of jewel. I'm going to use this rather than the black at this stage. I will probably add a black just to kind of lose that end. You're probably not going to see it so easily. So I need to try and get. Oh, hang on. I need to cut a bit of wood. It didn't come out of there that well. Where are we? Come on. There we go. That was it. So just going to use the dark brown and run this along up until where we start to see. So there's this one here, and that's where it's starting to get a bit lighter. So now I'm going to get my darker red and just sort of put this in the middle. And this is the 193 I'm using. So we're going to add that to some of the brown as well. So just trying to get this in to start with. And then get my next red, which is the 118. And we're just going to put that around this jewel. Just to kind of circle that really, just so we know we're going around it. We're just going to put that in and kind of blend it up. Just around the top. Now, let me get one of these. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. One of these things, because I know what will happen is I'm just going to get my fingers everywhere, my palm everywhere, and then I'll be completely scuppered on the next level. So we're just going to pop that over here. Then we're going to go for our orange, because believe it or not, it's just a little bit of a tad. A tad orange in there, not a lot. I can see already my fingers have just started to. So just going to use a pencil, and it probably needs more of a darker red. What have I got here? Is that what I wanted? Actually, yes, but yeah. And then we can put the other one. Yeah, I'm going to use this one if you got it 225. If not, don't worry about it. Red's red at the end of the day. And okay, it's just a little bit darker. Pop that over that orange. And then we're going to blend that in with a. Where have they gone? Where's a sneaky little sucker gone? Yeah, probably one of these. I should sort of blend that across. Blend everything in quite nicely. Pull that brown into it. And then we can use this and put this at the bottom. And it's probably not looking as bright as you would want, even on this black background. There you go. And just continue using this all the way around. So lots of pushing that in. Then we'll just grab one of these and just blend that across. And then what I'm going to do is, so I'm just going to check this now and then just get the brown. I'm just going to blend that brown across into the red and just kind of see how that's looking. Yeah, that's not so bad. And then we're just going to check with the black. So I'm kind of really saying how I draw more than anything else. So this is more of a masterclass than it is actually saying how to do the dog portraits. So this is what I actually do. Right, I want my black. Where's my black gone? Someone has stolen my black. No, that's a dark brown. And you're probably going, yeah, Rob, we know what you do. You always lose your pencils. Right, so I'll use the black that I have here. Okay, I'll just use this one, same one. So this is a 199 dark black. So I'm just going to add that in at the edge and just kind of check across on see how it's looking. So what I'm doing is I'm actually testing. So I put the brown on and now I'm just putting a little bit of the black on. I'm just going to test how that's looking with what I've got. It's like, okay, not so bad so far. I'll just add a little bit more to the end. I'll probably need to add some of that red. I might not though. So just put that gently in. So just darkening this up. And then what I'm going to do is, because the side of this is also grey, I'm going to get one of these. Oh, that was a bit rubbish. What is this? Horrible. One of these soft tools. Put a new head on. And then I'm going to get some grey at that side. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to see how this looks with a lighter colour by the side. So just grab a little bit of a grey and just mix that onto here. Just check how that's looking. Yeah, it's a little bit too grey. I want a dash white in there. So okay, yeah, I think that's kind of the colour that I'm seeing. Maybe a bit more of a dash. There we go. So I'm just going to edge just around here that I'm seeing. And I just want to see how does it work with this colour. That we have. Get a bit more. So get just a bit more on here, a bit more white, blend that in, soften that out. Then I can just start to get an idea of, you know, how is this color looking in relation to the colors that I have over here on the side. And that'll give me an indication whether I need to go darker. So now I put this brightness in, it's like, okay, yeah, I need to go darker here now. Whereas before, I couldn't really see what I needed to do because it was quite dark next to it, so I wasn't getting enough contrast. But I knew that the side was light enough just to tell me, okay, let's add this light in. So now I can see that. Now I can start to go a little bit darker and add this black in a little bit more, a little bit harsher, a little bit stronger down here. And then come round and do you understand what I'm doing? Why I'm doing this? So now I can add the black in. And pull this black around a bit more. Okay, so then we'll just blend this black out into what we've just been doing. Just get that a little bit softer. Okay, so now I'll get my red. Now I'll go over the top of this. And we'll just try and blend these in together again. I've got a real crimson coming along here. Okay. And that darker one on. And kind of blend across over the black and just try and get that black a little bit kind of red, a bit of that redness into it. Which is terrible English, I know. Get that redness into it. Okay, let's just move this around. Now what I'm going to do is, so I can see where things are, I'm just going to position and place this kind of a red circle around everything. There we go. Alright. Now let's just go over to the other one, and it starts to be red around on this side. Let's just do it over here. Now I know you're probably looking at this going, well, this just looks more like a pinky red. It is. It's that was it 193, and I'll add the other one to it. So I'm just trying to blend these out, out with each other. Then we'll do that other red on top, which is the 118. Which is kind of more of a, it's kind of almost an orangey red, isn't it? Alright, so now we'll just keep doing that. So now we're along in here. Where are we? Where's my brown gone? I think that's what fell on the floor. There we go. So now we'll get our brown, and we'll colour this in this central piece. So again, similarly to Holly, we're working on these kind of background colours at the moment. So just pushing this into the paper, and you can see what's different here, between something like Holly is here we can actually add some strength to the the way that we're actually doing the drawings itself, the actual colours. There we go. Now I'll just add some of that black in there and just sort of darken off this oh, my black needs sharpening. Just find a better one. There we go. Just see how this one works. There you go. So just a bit of black in here. I've never tried this one actually. This is a Conte Paris. No idea. I've never tried this black before. Let's see how it works. Kind of weird, really. Not sure I like it at the moment. Ooh. Okay. I'll just use this one, Stabilo Carbothello blacks. They're always good. You can always use the pan pastels as well, so that's simple enough to use. So just doing this, then we're going to add some of that red in there again. So the 193, just add some of this colour in, just a little bit. Go right across. Try and follow the contour of the shape. So I'm going to add some more of that brown just around here. Add some of that black in there as well. I think we can actually go a lot darker around here from what I can see. Just checking that's in focus again now, so hopefully that should focus all right. Okay. Now we just come back over here. Just have a look at this. It needs a bit more black over here. So we're just trying to get these lights in, the darks. You know, get it coloured well. So always just try and keep everything moving and in the same direction as if you can. It just keeps consistency of the movement across the paper. There you go, a little bit of darkness there. And then we add a lot more darkness in here, just in places, just in patches. Okay, now let's just go brighter and add some of that crimson in. This is the 225 I'm using. Really try and push that into that paper. Whoops. Just a little bit around here I can see. And get our a little bit of our orange colour. Oh no, sorry, our little red was the 118. I'm just going to try and get a few little bits of where it's just a little bit brighter. It's just around the edges. A little bit of a bright patch here. Smooth that in. There we go. Okay, then come over to this side and we'll start working on here. So actually, I'm not going to carry on doing that. I think you've kind of got the idea, really. I don't need to keep doing the same thing again and again and again. So what you're trying to do is bring these colours into each other, you know, and find that smoothness of line, of blend. Then just add a little bit of brightness. So now I've got the orange one, which is a 109. So I'm just going to see if I can just touch a little bit on. So again, I'm just checking now. It's like a little small bit. Does that work? Does that add, you know, a good little bit of, you know, brightness in that? Does that open it up? Okay, yeah, a little bit, not a lot. Okay, I don't need to do too much on that. So let's work on the next layer. So what we got, so if I squint my eyes, okay, if I squint and just check this color, so there we go, that's that kind of color at the back. So this is the 183. I'm just having a look on the paper. It's like, is that the color I want there? Yeah, maybe not. Let's try another one of what I've got. Could be the 187 even. Yeah, I think so. So actually I think this is going to be our underground color. Okay, let me just try and get that in focus. It doesn't like being in focus on this one. How's it? It's struggling. Let me. How's that? How's that? Is that in focus? That looks a bit better, doesn't it? I think. Okay, so I'm using the 189, and I'm just going to push this in. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing here. So just going to get this in that middle bit. Okay, and just do a blend across. Because I think, and again, just a test bit. So what I'll do is I'll try a little bit there, then I'll get one of our darker colors, because I can just see this, little bits of darker that's in there, and I'll just put a few little sort of random dots in. So really what I'm doing is I'm just testing, how does that look to me as the backdrop, as the main kind of middle color. So put in a little dark in there, then I'm going to put a little bit of light one, which is 132, and I'm just having a look and see. So now I'm just going to twist this in and see, does that work? Can I start to create this effect? So this is the same movement you would have used on Holly to do her nose, just a little bit of, a few little dots. And then let's try it with the cream, which is the 103, that's the 101. Then we'll just get a few of these dots in as well. So I'm just looking for those brighter colours in there. And is that kind of starting to work and look a little bit like what I'm seeing on my screen? And so look for these brighter areas that I just want a few in, because there's not a lot in there that's bright. Then for super bright, then we go for our white, the 101, and it's just occasional little ones here or there. And it's like, okay, I can maybe see that starting to work, and we probably need some more cream if I just look from a distance, back in places. A few. So it's just trying to test it. Okay, so that's all I'm doing at this point, is I'm just testing a small bit and seeing how it lands when I do it. I go, okay, yeah, that's right. So I can feel already this needs to sharpen. Then it needs some more dark pieces just in every so often. And funnily enough, it looks like there's little sort of splashes of red in there as well. So you get a little bit of that red that I can see, and one or two touches in. Okay, cool. Now we'll move along, and we'll keep this running as our background color. Oh no, actually I just swapped. I picked up the wrong pencil. There we go. It's the 187. There you go. So choose our 187. Now I notice it's starting to get lighter as I'm going along. So I'm quite happy with that. That's working okay. So that's worked. And this is starting to change color. Now it's starting to get a bit of a cream color coming in. Okay, so what I'm starting to see is I'm seeing these dots almost coming down, quite a lot firmer. A lot later on. So yeah, I can probably keep that brown working all the way across it, actually, especially around the top here. So good. Okay, so now I've chosen that as my background color, so that's fine. And we can probably blend in just over here some of this. We can probably make it a little bit lighter as we're coming around, just in those places. But yeah, I think what we'll do is we'll definitely keep that color coming all the way around, and try and get that lined up. Okay, then we can just blend that across. So just get any of our blending sticks and just blend all of that across. And then just tidy up anything we need to tidy up that I do. Just underneath here. Okay, does that make sense? Now I know mine's completely and utterly wonky, so let's just tidy that up. Let's get that line working a lot better. There you go. That's a bit better over there and over here. Oh yeah, that's fine, this color. Do you see what I'm doing? Does that make sense? So just tidy up around here. Okay, so I'll continue with this color all the way around. 183, wrong one again. All the way around. To the end. Okay, so I'll let you continue yours all the way to the end and just tidy that bit up. So that's what we're doing. So now let's just double check on this. So let's come back, and we'll start doing over some of this area, and we'll start putting some of these lighter ones down. And I noticed that they seem to be in this kind of following this pattern, just going identically. So just add some of them, put your pencil on and give it a twist. So lots of just tiny little dots, and that should also give a bit of a pattern. So yeah, I'm afraid there's a lot of dots on here. There's no quick way of doing it. I wish, but that's what's going to make it look amazing. Anthracite, yes it is. Dark grey pastel, yes. You can choose any colour really, but I chose this one. A brown would have worked fine. I just wouldn't do white. If you can help not to do that, just a tricky colour really. And just keep doing this. And yeah, okay, we're starting to find the pattern now. So you just keep going at whatever speed works for you. So yeah, we're going to probably end up having done quite a lot of these little dots. And yeah, see, it doesn't really work doing it quickly. You do actually have to twist it in. But it's going to make it look good at the end, and that's what we want. Then if you can have the skill and learn to do this with different subjects and different textures, that's what's going to really make you a lot better at what it is that you do. It's the textures that we have and how we work with them all that makes us better artists. Whereas if you just keep doing fur all the time and all you're good at doing is fur, then it doesn't really give you much of an opportunity to get better as an artist. And and that's why it's important to me in the framed group, framed club that we have, that we're not just drawing the same type of thing all the time, but we have a range of different things, that teach us how to do surface, because that's really what it all is. You see what I'm doing here now? So I've done all that. You see, it's just with each press that you do, you get a slightly different amount of intensity. So now I can go in and press it. If I sharpen my pencil up a bit more, or just get the white actually. So we just go in with some of those whites, and you just see it just occasionally. You don't need to do a lot, just in places, and that will just create more of a that sense of light hitting the surface. Whereas if we just have the one colour throughout it and press hard, it doesn't give enough contrast. So then, if we look at this, then we've got some dark brown in there as well. So we just add a few tiny little bits of dark brown, in places, and this is an exercise in patience. It's funny. I was reading something today. Actually developing it myself. To be honest with you, to be fair, but we were talking about what is it that makes, why is it that art is therapeutic, and one of the things that was coming up in the discussion was all around the fact that art it allows you to enter into what's called the flow state, which you may have heard people talk about with high performance athletes and stuff, and it's this flow state, which is actually what it does is it rebinds together what you would call the agency of us, which is our identity. It pulls together disjointed kind of patterns, of thought and the way that we think, and the flow state actually binds it and pulls it all together to create a form. And it's this form which is the flow state, which is like our identity, and people will find it as well if they do meditation. Anything that requires, I suppose, deep, relaxed, concentrated existence, where you're not necessarily having to. Now I'm just going to choose this one here. It's a 187 again. I'm just going to dab a few colours in. So yeah, art is amazing as a therapy, and I'm not saying that we need therapy. It's like I've got to go and speak as a therapist, but more from the point of it just brings us back to our own personal center. Right, so just now see, this is now starting to get just to make sure I'm in focus, starting to get blunt. So I need to sharpen this. So to get this kind of effect, you want to have sharpened pencils. I'll find out where my rubbish bin is for these. Let's have a look. Where's it gone? Okay. I'm just going to have to use a Ferrero Rocher plastic. So just going to spin this around on one of these. And just get that so you can see that in here. And just try and get a really good sharp tip again. There you go, that's what you want. So you always want to keep a sharp nib. So then I can just come back in again, just add. You can just see it just adding a few little sharp bits, and you see it's starting to work its way around. So and again do the same with the white. My white does need sharpening up a bit. Just as a few in here. So I won't do more because I'll need to do that. So that's how you want to continue around here. So now let's look at these what are they called? These crystals around here. So again, it's a very similar thing that we're doing. So we're going to get a red. I'm going to work on this one, and we're going to go, just do our bright ones in. Look for where the brightest is, put your pencil in, twist it. Now, I discovered this technique. I'm not saying that, I'm the only one to ever done it. I'm sure I'm not. But as far as for jewels, doing jewels or things that shine brightly like diamonds, this works an absolute treat. And I did it on the Queen's crown and the King's crown, that you can see in framed. So now I'll get my black in. I'll do the same kind of thing. So we'll just get some of these darker, really sort of big black moments in here, and just on the edge. And we get another one of our darker reds, because they're just in between. So we're getting this kind of immediate contrast between the darks and the lights, which is what we want. And then just some in here, and there's some brown in here as well that I'll get in there. There you go. And I'm just going to put that white, a nice big spot of that white on there. Then get some of this brown, and you just see a little bit of brown in there, and just tidy up with the brown around the outside. Okay, I get some of that black. You just see a little bit of black around the edges. Now it looks like, looking at this, right, so a little bit of black around there as well. See if I can just get that in there. There's tiny bits in there. Okay, so I'm just going to darken just the edge. There's just a bit of an edging. I can see it just here. It's almost like a little bit of a shadow on it. And let's just nip this back. Okay. So yeah, how's that looking? That's not so bad, is it? Quite good. Actually, I need just more of that white in there. It's a bigger white than what I've got. There we go. A tiny bit here. And there's a little bit of pinks. So I'm just going to, and just some of these just have a little bit of a glisten. So this is the 103 I'm using here. And I should probably just do it. So that's how I do these jewels. Does that make sense? Okay. So then now if I work across the top, so a similar thing. So just going to get my darker red. You can use, honestly, pan pastels for this as well, just as equally as well. I'm just using the pencils because I know, not everyone has pan pastels, but yeah, if you've got pan pastels, go for the same. Just build up your background. So just using pencils, just using the red. Then I'm just going to blend that in. Squeaky pencil. Right, so just blend that red in as well. Not that one. What have we got? Okay, yeah. Okay, just try and get that. Yeah. Hopefully that's a bit better. Okay, let's tidy this up. Okay, so similar thing. Now, if we have a look at the colours that we've got in there, we've got a pink, we've got a black, we've got a lighter pink, we've got a red. So yeah, it's a lot of sort of sparkly orangey stuff going on. So now let's just take one of our other colours, just our red, and we're just going to do the same thing. And so if you're doing this, just enjoy it. Spend the time. You don't have to do all of these dots. You could do it, far more simply. You won't get the same effect. If you want this really, similar kind of sparkly jewelry effect, then this is how you're going to do it. You could just do it with just straight colors, kind of blend that across, and a little bit of black and brown on there. So that's that. So now we'll do our black. Just kind of have a look. Where is the black in here? Let's just add some of these in. There's a bit of a pattern here or there. So we don't need to put a lot in. And notice, just at the edges, it really is. It's quite bright around here. So we'll just add an edging to it. So we've got the black, then we can come in with a bit of a brown as well, a dark brown, which looks quite black. It does have a little bit of a distinct difference. Then one of our 187 as well. There's this kind of chocolatey brown that we also use on holly. It's quite nice. And that's just going to work in there. So just adding a few of these colors is just going to give us some of that texture that we want. And we go for the brighter one, which is our 132. Then we can just, I hope they're still focusing in on this. Now 132 in there. There's a few here or there. And start working your way around. And then you can add, I think I can just see a little bit of orange maybe. So just put another one in, a little dot. And you just keep working your way around. So let's just do a few more. So we've got a darker red here, we can put some of that in. You can see, a few bits in there. Okay, so does that make sense? So just keep working that. So you've got the pattern to do the jewelry, you've got the pattern to do this shape, you've got the pattern to do the here, and then the next one. And then I'll show you this. So, and that's kind of the main thing. So, this one in the center is the same one that we're doing down here. And this one here is the same as the top, just repeated down to this side. Okay, so now let's go over to this the gold top on this. So we're going to choose a brown. Where are we? So let's have a look. So I would say we're probably choosing a 183. looks to be the kind of the brown that we're going to choose for mid-toning about here. And then it's got some darker parts on it as well. So let's just actually draw in between. Oops. So let's get my black. I'm just going to choose the parts where it's dark. So we're just starting to get this shape. And it kind of curves around here, doesn't it? It curves around this side. Got a bit of a shadow here. And on this side too. And a little bit in here. So I'm just finding my blacks to start with on this one. Okay, blend that in. Okay, that's cool. Then let's just get this color coming down, and it curls down into this point. Okay, so now let's just blend that across, get some cream in here, just at the top. And just make sure you're just sticking at that angle, you're keeping this angle right, and then this blends in. And it's got this, let me just try and blend that in a lot better. I've got some new ones at least, there we go. Alright. So just blend that into the paper, push that in. You can use one of those tortillons. That's okay. Whoops, that's fallen. Then I'm going to get this the 187, this caramel, and that's just sitting at the top. Looking at this, so just put some of that caramel in at the top. So it's just having a look at your colours and going, is that white? Is that cream? Is that more of a caramel colour? Do I need to add a bit more red or orange? Or you know, when I look at this, I see, you know, there's a little bit of brown, so I'll just get a little bit of dark brown on there. You know, put some of that in. You know, find those kind of darker areas, you know, and then we'll add this colour back in again and push that into the paper. So this is a 183 that we just put on earlier. So I'm really just trying to make sure that that's in the paper. You know, so even though I blended it in, I want that in the paper because it makes it easier to add other colours on top. Whereas if I don't, then it just becomes difficult. So I'll just blend that in again. Push that into the paper. Now I can add a little bit of this darkness in. The 280. Just give it some of that kind of texture that we're seeing on top. So it's just mixing between, you know, textures, a little bit this kind of funny shape where it's slightly just lifted out and there's a shadow on it. And it comes up and shades in here. Okay, get a little bit of that in there. Just touch a little bit of black in there. Then we'll get our cream. And now we're just going to increase the brightness of that area. And it just comes just underneath, just over the top of this bit, whatever it's called. It's called a bit, if you didn't know. Technical term for it, a bit. All right. Okay. Nothing worse than when someone laughs at their own jokes, is there? Unless they're yours, in which case they're very funny. All right. So add a little bit. So now we're just adding some color on top, some brightness. We're just adding the brightness on top to just try and get some of that texture. So look for, where's some of these lighter areas. Where can you add a little bit of that kind of brightness, texture, and I want a little bit of this 187 in there as well. Just kind of make it a little bit more caramel, so we're not just having that one color. There you go. I think that's looking quite good. And this side, similar thing. There's a little bit of caramelness to it. There you go. Okay, so now we can move on to the next one. We're going to make this quite caramel on this side. So 187. You see, it's looking a little bit more caramel. Terrible language. It's more caramel. Could you imagine if I was at school again? I probably would have had a slap around my wrists or something by a teacher. There's no such thing as more caramel or more of this or more of that. All right, okay. So just push that in nice and deep, and that's what you want to do with your colors. Then closer to the top, we're getting that brown, dark brown. So put a dark brown in at the top, and we'll just blend that in as well. So we'll start to blend these two colors together. And this has got this like a shape down here, isn't there? And down the side. There we go. Then we can use that other colour that we just did, or the cream, and we'll just get our edge, just very lightly, and just curl that round. A tiny bit over here. And we'll choose the 183 that we had earlier on that side, and just push that out to get that shadow light. Oops. And just in here. And there's a few little bits of that kind of texture on here. We can just add a few little kind of dots of stuff. Grab some of that texture. There we go. Then we go to the other side, and which use the same color we had the 183 is on this side, we'll do on this one as well. So just push that all the way in. All the way around. And have this curling around into that little V shape. Just blend that in. And blend that across. And I might as well just carry it on actually, right round to the side. And blend it down. Alright, so now this side's a lot lighter, isn't it? So we can get some of this cream, the 103, and we'll use this to lighten it up and just create some of that kind of texture. See, there's a little bit of light here, so I'll put that in. One there, and this little one here, and just a mark. Whoops. Down on that one. I'll have to tidy that up. So just a few kind of random, dots and marks. Just to kind of keep that texture bit going. We get a darker brown. We'll just create that little kind of V. Bit of texture over the top. That will lift it out and make it look a little bit more kind of highlighted. So just adding some dots just to the side, just to try and show the side of that one. I'm going to add some of this caramel again, the 187 over to here, just at the end. Let's try and give it a little bit of different coloration. Can you see how I'm doing this kind of, this is gold, this brass, and the caramel over on this side as well, just underneath there. And then it is a darker brown. I'll find my darker brown. Just in that corner, so just darken that off. And then darken in here. There's a little bit of that, whatever that is, on top. And around here. So now we just blend some of this across. And then under here, we'll just do our red underneath here. And we're underneath there. And a dot there. So what we'll do is bring all this together now. Does that make sense? What we're doing there. So just carry on doing this in the same way around here for that circle. I would grey. Depends what you want to do. Whether you're going to do a background or not. But you can either just grey. You could even just carry on a little bit of this grey if you wanted to around it and just slowly fade it out and then have a little bit of orange. You don't need to do all of the do all of the lens flares. Then just tidy up this bit over here, which I'll do more of tomorrow. This is just showing you how to start and get a lot of this down. This comes over this bit here, so just brighten that up because that is quite bright. A tiny bit of light here. Does that make sense, what we're doing? Just always, just coming back, just seeing a little bit more. What else do I need to add? How can I add a little bit more, and then take a little bit away. Okay, so that's what we're doing. So your task, if you choose to accept it, is to continue doing these dots. So you've got everything that you need. You've got everything that you need to continue with this gold or brass top to go around here. To continue with the top here, add that base color in, which is your red. Whether you use bright red or not, it's entirely up to you. Add these dots in. You don't have to do a lot. It's up to you. And I can see here the dots that I was adding over this side are much bigger than what I was doing down here, but this seems to be working quite well. So I would just continue that pattern going all the way around, and seeing, where's it lighter, where's it darker, add the darkness to it, add the light to it, and the same with this jewel, same thing again, you got one here, you got another one over here. So, do that same sort of shape to it. You got another one just sitting on the edge. And then this bit here is the same as what you're doing on top, and this bit here is the same as what's in here, and then it just repeats. So if you don't have to finish it all. If you can just start each of these layers, I would finish that if you can. You see it didn't take too long. Let me just see if, yeah, you can see that quite well. Keep going down. Just do bits and pieces. These, and then we'll focus on doing a couple of these tomorrow and a little bit of the bottom, and we'll start to sort of lift this up together, and pull it all together as a piece. So yeah, that's the bauble as it stands at the moment. I hope you've enjoyed it. It is completely different to doing holly or anything else, and that this is how I worked. I wanted to show you something different to doing holly, because I tend to work in pieces, in small pieces. I'm always testing what I'm doing. I'm always testing, is this color, is this working, is that what I want? So I'll do a small bit and then add something together. Oh, that's working. Okay, I'll keep doing that. If it's not, I'm always changing it, changing what I'm doing. And I think that's how you will find that you will get better. Once you've got your basic structure, which you have with holly and stuff like that, then you can start to refine things and start to experiment a bit more. And that's what I wanted to show you on this. Okay, so that's me done for today. I shall come back to the camera to see what questions we have and stuff. All right, hi, how you doing? So how was that? Apart from the in and out of focus, sorry. Yeah, a little bit tricky with this anthracite, and probably because, we're taking a little bit longer to get the surface down for the camera to actually, find focus. So, yeah, how was it? Hope you enjoyed it. This makes doing the dog look easy. Yeah, yeah, it does. So this is kind of taking you to that next level, and then the framed club goes even further, and we do other sort of textures. But yeah, this is great, isn't it? Yeah, absolutely. Having these kind of textures, this metallicness, these shines, there are so many different places where you can use it, so many different places, and if you don't know what to do and how to do it, it looks almost like it's just crazy hard. But when you start doing it, it's like, okay, it's not as hard as what it looks. I'm not saying it's easy, but you can see there's a method behind it. It's not about being, oh, I'm the greatest artist on the planet. It's just looking at color and light, shadow and form, and just understanding how contrast works with that. And when right at the beginning, when we were looking at the contrast, or that red and the black in there along that line, I needed that grey on the side to be able to measure how deeply, how dark I needed to go, because the anthracite was just so all-encompassing. So it's always worth that. That's why it's worth just experimenting and testing before you kind of commit fully. As soon as you commit, it just makes it a little bit trickier. Okay, so that's it from me. Thank you very much. I'll see you tomorrow, same time again, and we'll carry on with the bauble. So have yourself a great rest of the day. Until then.